This is why I said you can't be afraid to compete. This is exactly why I said you can't keep running away from competing with the NFL. I don't understand it. I mean, this is America. This is a country that was built on competition. This is a country where literally everything is a competition. You have degenerate gamblers competing with sports books to determine whether or not a coin toss will be heads or tails. You have degenerate gamblers making bets on how many layups Angel Reese will miss throughout the season. I don't understand why college football continues to tuck their tail in their ass while politely requesting that the NFL be gentle as their ass gets kicked. But Casey, it's bad business to compete with the NFL. The NCAA and the networks, they want to draw the highest ratings possible for the college football playoffs. As you're about to see, college football is already drawing record low ratings, which means they have a Bruce Caboose to go along with their pounded ass. If it wasn't for some obscure federal law that prohibits the NFL from broadcasting games on Fridays and Saturdays during the fall, I don't know when college football games would be played. They'd be scheduling games on Tuesday and Wednesday. Damn sure wouldn't be on Saturday because the NCAA has been more than willing to let the NFL steal Saturdays from them in December and January. I think I've made this comparison before. If I have, I'm going to make it again. Back in the early 90s, WCW was struggling. WWF exploded in the 1980s. Vince McMahon put every wrestling territory out of business. Only survivor was Ted Turner and WCW, and they were just barely surviving. Mid-90s. Ted Turner hires a young man named Eric Bischoff to run WCW. During his first year, Eric Bischoff was struggling. WCW was still losing millions of dollars every year. One day, Ted Turner calls Eric Bischoff into his office for an impromptu meeting. He asks him on the spot, "Hey, Aaron, but my name is Eric."
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Ted Turner asked him on the spot, "Aaron, what do we need to do to compete with Vince in the WWF?" Initially, Eric Bischoff didn't have an answer. He was completely unprepared for the question. In a panic, he blurts out, "I need to be on TNT in prime time on Monday nights. If we're going to compete, we have to compete with Vince head to head." For years, the WWF had been dominating cable television on Monday nights. Ted Turner, he gave Eric Bischoff and WCW 2 hours of primetime real estate on TNT every Monday night. That competition, which eventually became known as the Monday Night Wars, that competition took the wrestling business, which was on the brink of bankruptcy, and it elevated both WCW and the WWF to levels of popularity that they had never seen before, and they haven't seen since. And the only reason it happened is because Eric Bischoff wasn't afraid to compete. Unfortunately, I can't say the same thing for college football. Last week, the instant classic between Ole Miss and Miami, it was played on Thursday night. Instead of being played on Saturday, which is the day dedicated to college football, the game was scheduled for Thursday so they wouldn't have to compete with the NFL playoffs. Now, the theory is, since they don't have to compete with the NFL, college football playoffs will draw better ratings. But like most collegiate theories, many of which are created by doofus college professors with minimal experience in the real world, like most collegiate theories, this theory was proven wrong once it was put into practice. Because Ole Miss and Miami, they drew the lowest ratings in the history of the college football playoffs. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. Earlier today on the second channel, talked about LeBron James becoming a toxic problem in Los Angeles. Some believe that LeBron is pressuring the Lakers to trade Austin Reeves. What the Lakers should be doing is trading LeBron James. Problem is, I don't know if there's another team in the NBA who would be willing to take them. I explain why, so click the link in the description or the pinned comment below and subscribe to the second channel. Last Thursday night, Ole Miss and Miami drew 15.8 million viewers on ESPN. Wowzer! That is amazing! I thought you said these ratings were low. That number looks great! Yeah, that number would be great for the NBA Finals or the World Series. You could go back 10 years and combine the ratings each year for the chase for the Platinum Pooper, or as the mainstream media prefers to call it, the WNBA Finals. You could combine the last 10 years of their ratings and you probably still wouldn't reach 16 million people. But ratings are subjective. Success is different for every league. If 36 people were watching Unrivaled, their entitled players would be demanding raises. If 3 million people watch the NFL, the networks would be demanding a refund. Ole Miss Miami was the smallest audience in the history of the college football playoffs. And I'm not just talking about the semifinals. I am talking about every game in the last 10 or so years. Well, Casey, that's simply not true. Back in 2015, Clemson, Oklahoma only drew 15.7 million. Yeah, but that was before Nielsen adjusted how they calculate ratings. That was before out-of-home viewership was included. It was before they implemented new technology to more accurately track ratings. This 15.8 million, this is easily the least watched game in the history of the college football playoffs. Hell, there were regular season games in college football that drew a larger audience. Now, you could make the case that the matchup just wasn't appealing to a national audience. Miami hasn't been relevant nationally in 25 years. Ole Miss has never been relevant. Ole Miss is the polished turd of the SEC. Most years they look great in September, early October. Then they start playing quality opponents, and the polish slowly melts off the turd. I'm sure the matchup is part of the reason for the underperformance, but I also think the scheduling had a lot to do with it. Because I've had so much going on with Chewy, I didn't even know that Ole Miss and Miami were playing last Thursday night. I didn't start watching until the second half because I didn't know the damn game was on. I consider myself to be a casual fan of college football. I've always preferred the NFL over college. I only watch the big games, and I would have watched the entire game last Thursday night if I knew it was on. If it was on a Saturday, like it should have been, I would have watched the whole game. And casual fans are what the NCAA needs to drive ratings. We're not used to watching college football in the middle of January, and we're damn sure not used to watching it on a Thursday night in the middle of January. Ironically enough, we used to be watching college football on Thursday night. If you're over the age of 30, I'm sure you remember the classics that we used to see on Thursday nights on ESPN. Remember Beamer Ball, Virginia Tech? Lane Stadium used to be electric on Thursday nights. When I was in college, Thursday night mainly belonged to the ACC, but as soon as the NFL launched Thursday night football, college football on Thursday nights, it disappeared. Why? Because the NCAA and the networks, they refuse to compete. And the thing is, I don't think this is good for the NFL either. Last month, NFL players were complaining because they were having to play on Christmas Day. Well, they have no right to complain. They're making millions of dollars. Yeah, but money doesn't replace the time that you lose with your family. Sure, it's only one day, it's only one Christmas. But the point is, I think the NFL is running the risk of overexposure, which is another thing Uncle Casey doesn't understand. To me, one of the reasons that the NFL has always been so special, there's only a finite number of games. I used to look forward to NFL Sunday because it was the only day of the week that the NFL was playing. Yeah, we've always had Monday Night Football, but the vast majority of NFL games, they were played at 12 and 3 on Sunday afternoon. The games were all happening at the same time. NFL Red Zone would be going back and forth between all the games. It was the most exciting 7 hours of television all week. Now, they have all these ridiculous games over in Europe. You can't even hear the quarterbacks at the line of scrimmage because their voices are overshadowed by the Islamic call to prayer. NFL games are on Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Christmas Day, Saturday, Friday. It's just too much. Your most valuable asset is the scarcity of your product. And Roger Goodell, he's doing everything he can to destroy it. As a consumer, as a viewer, imagine how great last weekend would have been with college football and the NFL playoffs being played at the same time. Each league only has one game in each time slot, so there would only be 2 games that you're watching. Most people would be going back and forth. Would college football have beaten the NFL in the ratings? Probably not. But we'll never know because they refuse to compete. The problem with refusing to compete, you're allowing the NFL to do whatever the hell they want. They've already taken Thursday from you. They've already taken Saturday, which is your day. They've already taken Saturday in December and January. What are you going to allow the NFL to take next? Adam Silver, which many believe is the worst commissioner in sports, to his credit, Adam Silver refuses to back down. The NBA might get their ass kicked by the NFL on Christmas Day, but at least the NBA is willing to compete. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.